Welcome back to This Week. I'm pleased to be joined by Wade Munday. He is the Director of Corporate Philanthropy and Social Impact at Bridgestone and a delegate to the Democratic National Convention. Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Bob.
Welcome. Your duties, your feelings, tell me about your fellow delegates, how it's changed in just 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's nothing short of euphoric. Before, we had President Biden's incredible record to work with. Now we have President Biden's record, and we've got Vice President Harris's energy and the energy that Governor Walz has presented to the campaign. So it's a whole new playing field.
How different is this campaign, not the campaign, but how different will this convention be? Now I'm assuming there's going to be some honoring of President Biden, the inaugurating of the whole new team, the launching of this new team. It's going to be a different convention.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a celebration, as all conventions are, but I think it's also going to be somewhat reverent. I think we'll be honoring President Biden, will be honoring past presidents that have delivered for our country during this convention. So it's going to be a mix of both. It's going to be exciting.
What are the issues here that are going to decide this election? There's a lot of excitement out there. I don't think I've seen the Democrats so excited maybe since Barack Obama. Can it last for 90 days? Once that calms down in the race, it's going to remain tight. What's going to be the issues that are key to deciding this race?
It's still going to be the economy. It's still going to be building up our middle class in Tennessee and throughout America, and also making sure that our economy works for all Americans and not just a select few at the top of the tax bracket. And I think also, importantly, women's access to reproductive health care is going to be hugely important, especially in the suburbs.
The Trump campaign seems to be caught a little bit flat-footed. They will rebound. This is going to be a tough election in these battleground states. It seems that the Harris and Walz team is obviously concentrating on those seats and those specific states. Is that what's going to turn it? If you can hold the blue wall, do they win? Is it more than that? Can they take some of these other states? Georgia, Arizona, New Mexico, going to swim, North Carolina, possibly.
Maybe Florida. I mean, the map has changed dramatically. Florida would be great. We all want to go to the beach after that. But I think that the map has changed dramatically, and so Democrats have a lot more options than just holding the blue wall that they used to. And so you'll see, like now, the campaign through 5 different states is meant to put Republicans on their heels a little bit. We're still in the honeymoon phase. It's still going to be a fight. And I think, as they said 2 weeks ago, Vice President Harris said, we're always going to be running like we're behind. And I think that's really important for us to all remember, that we can be competitive in more than just 3 states.
Talk about the choice of Tim Walz as the VP. It seemed like everybody was kind of pointing to Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania because of the importance of Pennsylvania. Tim Walz, also from the Midwest, a battleground state. He seems to have been accepted. He has a great orator. They have a great story to tell, both Kamala Harris's story and Tim Walz's story. Do you like the choice?
Yeah, I think the choice is great. I think we're doubling down on this idea that Democrats really do comprise a cross-section of America, normal people who have extraordinary opportunities thanks to the freedoms that America provides them.
We see the excitement of the crowds growing. How do you keep this excitement going? How do you get these people to register? How do you get them to get to the polls in November, which is really the important aspect of the election?
Yeah, I think we continue going into the Heartland and going to speak to audiences that maybe we weren't planning on speaking to before, because, like I said, the map has changed, but I think also our audience has changed. I think we have a real opportunity to speak to women in the suburbs and tell them that we represent their values and we can be their voice in the White House for the next 4 years as well.
You talked about the map changing and talked about, North Carolina, governor's race there that really could go Democratic. It could open up the state for a Democratic presidential candidate. Suddenly there's big urgency in Georgia. The black vote has gotten energized with Arizona in play. It was close last time, but Mark Kelly, obviously a very strong senator there, considered as a VP. Those states are back in play when they weren't 3 weeks ago.
Right. They are, I think, areas where the campaign is going to focus, but also the Democratic National Party has invested in state parties, not just in those states, but around the country. We're investing in infrastructure so that we can deliver our message about expanding the middle class to more people. Those investments, I think, are going to pay dividends in November.
How much of the pressure is going to be on you and other Democrats? Obviously, there's going to be a big party and a lot of excitement in Chicago, but once that ends and everybody goes back home, to keep it going, to get folks to register, to get folks to the polls.
Yeah, it's all about organizing. We've got to have a great field game when it comes to November. I think early voting starts in some states 2 weeks after our convention. And so from that point on, it's all about keeping the same energy, taking the message that we're carrying from the convention into the communities and making sure people are registered to vote and where to vote.
With about 30 seconds or so to go, this is a shortened campaign, 90 days roughly. Is that actually a good thing in this way? You can compress it, keep the excitement going, and maybe it'll turn out to be a plus.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing because we have time to communicate our message to enough people, and I think that we've got enough focus on this campaign that it'll be difficult to dilute the message and the enthusiasm that we've got right now.
10 seconds left. Will there be a good voter turnout this November?
Yeah, we've got to be better than 50. I think in Tennessee we've got to improve, but I think enthusiasm's high. It's going to be high across the country.
Wade Munday, delegate to the Democratic National Convention. Appreciate your time and your insights. Stay with us. This week continues in a moment. I want to thank you for spending part of your weekend with us. That will do it for another edition of This Week. I do want to thank my guest, Wade Munday, who's looking forward to his trip to Chicago in just a week. We'll hope to see you back here next weekend for another edition of This Week. Between now and then, you have a great week.